Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here. This is a members chat class. That means if you're a member of our channel, you can use the chat. If not, you are welcome to watch and learn the proper structure and steps for IELTS task 2 writing. And these are the steps to go for that band 9 score. The lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS help. And for general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's general IELTShelp.com. On both of those sites, we have fantastic materials, including 6 original practice exams, a fully interactive course, and over 100 hours of video lessons. This is aehelp.com. Click that red button to join so you get your My Student account with all of the goodies that I just mentioned. If you are looking for the general version of the exam, look for the green background at gieltshelp.com and click that red button there. Hello, members joining into the class. Hi, Zainab. Hi, Amar. Hi, Raj. Hi, Kamlesh. Good to see members in on time. All right, students, if you haven't done so yet, get our app, Academic IELTS Help, from your Google Play or Apple App Store. And if you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. Okay, so our job today, members, is to start this task 1, go through the very important steps of understanding the question, planning the correct response. Without that, it's virtually impossible to get a high band score. You cannot write a good essay, you cannot make a good argument if you do not focus on critical thinking of the question. That means thinking deeply about the question and planning an effective answer. Especially on the academic exam, students, it's not enough to just use English vocabulary and grammar to get a good score on task 2. Kisi, you're back from your 2-week road trip. Fantastic. I hope you had a great trip and collected lots of new and incredible memories to last a lifetime. That's fantastic. Hi, Danish. Hi, Shang Hung. Good to see other members in the class. All right, everyone, let's get to this question for today. Of course, first step, always read the question carefully. Here we go. Read with me, members. IELTS Task 2 Writing. Famous people sometimes give their opinion on a public topic. Is this a good thing? Explain to what extent you agree or disagree. I believe this question was submitted by one of our members. Support your answers with examples and explanations. Write at least 250 words, minimum 250 words. So clearly, task 2, as usual, is a persuasive essay. It's an argumentative essay. So persuasive essay means to persuade your reader of your ideas. Okay, and that's an important point, members, that it's a persuasive essay and not an expository essay. So you don't just explain what you think, but you actually argue what you think. So you have to, it's kind of tricky because it says explain to what extent you agree. But in fact, you're arguing to what extent you agree. You're not just explaining, so you need to use the right words, okay? And what voice would be the best to use for this essay? So based on this question, what voice or which voice should you choose first person author voice or third person author voice. You never use second person author voice for this. So you never use you or yours. Okay, Kamlesh says maybe first. Shanghung says, I would use third person. Zainab agrees. Preeti thinks maybe first person. I think third person voice would be better, so I might keep I, me, my out of this. Why? So you're Salim Shanghung, I agree with you. Zainab, I agree with you. Why should you maybe use third person for this essay? What's your reasoning? What's your logic? So I agree, I would probably choose third person for this. So use third person voice for this essay. Yeah, I'd say that's true. Hopefully you're thinking the same way as me. This last part, this is usually what helps you decide your voice. So here it says, support your answer with examples and explanations. It doesn't say from your own experience. Okay? Sometimes the question says from your own experience. In that case, first person may be the better choice. But here, it doesn't ask you for that. So it just says give examples, explanations. You can give that in third person voice. And you're dealing with famous people giving their opinion on a public topic. You might not have any direct first person experience with that. So it makes sense to write third person in this case, I think. Okay. All right. So what's the topic? So we read this question. Let's paraphrase it. Before we get to the topic, let's paraphrase this. So write this question in your own words. Famous people sometimes give their opinion on a public topic. Is this a good thing? Explain to what extent you agree or disagree. So paraphrase this question for me, students. Write it in your own words. Let's make sure that you understand it. I'm going to do the same. Okay, there's mine. So let me shrink it a bit so you can see both. Here we go. So here's the original. Welcome, new member Anish. Good to have you on board. Anish, send me an email later with your membership level so I can give you the right perks. Okay, so here's the original. Famous people sometimes give their opinion on a public topic. Famous people, another way to say that is celebrities. Okay, sometimes, at times, give their opinion, publicize. Publicize is when you make public your ideas. So publicize their beliefs on social issues. Public topic is a social issue. So notice how publicize, public, opinion, social issue. There's some nice paraphrasings here. Is this a good thing? Is this positive? Same idea. Explain to what extent you agree or disagree. Clarify to the degree that you support or disapprove of this practice. So that's basically the exact same question. And now I'm sure that I understand the question. Also, it really helps me to clarify the topic and the controlling idea. So another reason to paraphrase, members, keep this in mind and always practice this. Now, when I say viewers to paraphrase the question, I don't mean use this as the start of your essay. You can use it in your essay later, but this is just on a separate kind of point on the paper to make sure that you understand the question. And by paraphrasing the question, you also identify the topic and controlling idea. You should never begin writing your essay without having crystal clarity about the topic and the controlling idea. Okay, never ever. All right. Prithviraj says, well-known personalities sometimes provide their view on public opinion. Would this really be a positive step? Okay, Prithviraj, a couple of small corrections there, but overall quite good. Amar says, well-known individuals. Well-known in this case can be joined with a hyphen, so well-known, or dash, well-known individuals. Always say their point of view on public topic. Amar, not public theme, but maybe public topic. And Amar, I wouldn't say they always, but maybe often. Is this good opinion? We wouldn't say well stuff, Amar. So you can't use stuff as a synonym for thing in this context. It's very awkward, okay? It's strange. Say if you agree or disagree. Not say, Amar, because we don't actually speak, but we state. We state our ideas in writing. Danish says, some of the time, celebrities announce their views publicly on social issues. Is this positive, good, or is this a positive step? And you need the Danish, otherwise really nice paraphrasing. Your Salam Tewelde says, celebrities occasionally share their opinion with the public. Is this credible? Explain to what extent you support this idea. Your Salam, you're adding your own thinking and beliefs to the question. This is exactly why, your Salam, it's important to paraphrase, because I don't think you're paraphrasing accurately here. And you're missing a very important element. So your Salam, like this, okay? Celebrities occasionally share their opinion with the public on social issues or on community focus. Okay, so something that's happening in the world around them, like pollution or racism or war, famine, illness. Okay, is this credible is not included, your Salam, in the question. So the question doesn't actually ask you if it's credible. You have to decide that on your own and include it later in the essay when you're stating your position. Okay, so careful. Kisi says, sometimes celebrities express their points related to public affairs. Very good, Kisi. That's a good word. Affairs, public affairs. Is this good or bad? Yeah, so that's okay, Kisi. The word bad is implied. It's hidden in there for sure. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Explain it. Good. Shang Hung says, celebrities show their voice. Shang Hung, you can actually use voice here as a verb. So it's more natural to say celebrities voice their beliefs on social issues occasionally. Does this benefit the public? Okay, or is this a benefit? Define the degree that you agree or disagree on this topic. Okay. Preeti, I think maybe this was one of the questions you sent me. Okay. Not few times, Preeti, but at times. At times, celebrities speak out on social issues. Is this a positive endeavor? Describe to what extent you agree or disagree. All right. So some really good paraphrasing there, students. Let's keep going. Let's go to The topic and the controlling idea. What's the topic here? Okay, so what is the topic? Really important to identify the topic clearly. Okay, so I always want you to focus on identifying the topic clearly and completely. So the better you identify the topic and the better you define it, the better your essay will be and the faster you will write. So the topic here is famous people sometimes give their opinion on a public topic. Yes, it's more specifically, Shanghung, it's famous people or famous people's opinion. Okay. But let's simplify it here. Let's keep it to just famous people. Okay, you'll see why I'm doing this. So famous people, or as I said, celebrities. Okay, so here we're going to go with the critical thinking right away. So what is a famous person? So what is a famous person or a celebrity? What is a famous person? And often students, I think many of you have great English, so you have good vocabulary, you have good grammar. Everybody makes mistakes in grammar. That's not the end of the world. Oftentimes, students are losing one or more band scores because their answers are not accurate. They're not detailed. And especially on the academic version of the exam, that's where you can very quickly improve and gain a band score or two. Okay. Anish, my email is at the beginning of the videos, usually. Here it is, one more time, Anish. Adrian, Adrian, at aehelp.com. Okay. All right. So, celebrities, yeah, so a lot of you have a good idea of the topic. Your Salam says a celebrity is a widely known person. Dana says a famous person has lots of fans following them, by which any issues get trendy very fast and easily. Danish, don't combine ideas. Shanghung says everybody knows them like a politician, singer, actor. Shanghung also, so practice separating the what, the why, and the how. Okay, so what is a famous person? A person known by many people. That's the simplest way. Now, is this qualitative or quantitative definition? So is this definition of a famous person qualitative or quantitative? Kleber, Ogata, no, you shouldn't write like that. That kind of writing will not get you a high band score. It's like you're writing a template, and IELTS examiners do not give high band scores for template task 2 introductions. Okay, so no, Kleber, that's not a good way to write in the introduction. So yeah, very good. You're Salim, Dana, Shanghung, Preeti, Amar. You're saying that this is qualitative. So how can I make this quantitative? So what would be your definition of a famous person in a quantitative definition? So a quantitative definition of a famous person. So Preeti says millions of people. Yeah, so Shanghung agrees. All right, good. So yeah, I would maybe even say tens of millions of people. So and I would maybe even go the distance. I mean, students, we have 8 billion of us on this planet. So even if 1 million people know you, you may still not be all that famous. So even, if I'm thinking of this topic, I'm thinking it applies to people that hundreds of millions of people know around the world. So the most famous actors, Tom Cruise, Charlize Theron, the most famous politicians, and so on. Those would be the really famous people that are known by 100 million people or more. Okay? All right. Amar, a lot or a plethora of is not quantitative, it's still qualitative. Raj, a billionaire is a person who has more than $1 billion. It's not a person who's known by billions of people. Okay? So Danish believes that a famous person is someone who is known perhaps by billions of people. All right, now we get into a smaller number, but it's okay. Danish, that could work. Okay, so here what I'm showing is an important point that when you think of your ideas, so when you think of your topic and controlling ideas, or I should say when you critically think of your topic and controlling ideas, make sure to focus on both qualitative and quantitative thinking. Okay? So not just qualitative. Most of us tend to very quickly think about definitions qualitatively, but not quantitatively. Okay? And quantitatively is very important. Why? Why do you think? So, members, why do you think that having quantitative definitions is just as important as qualitative, maybe even more? Why is that? Danish will get to the hook today, so we can discuss it more then. Just hold on a little bit. So why would quantitative definitions in your writing? So Shanghung says because it's more specific for the reader. Yes, Shanghung, I agree. It definitely gives more detail. It can be more specific. And even beyond that, I mean, in university, in college, and school, we prefer quantitative information, in most sciences especially. Simply put, members, it's because it's clearer. So if I say that we're talking about famous people who are known by many, who are known by more than 100 million people around the world, then that second definition is clearer than the first. So quantitative information is clearer than qualitative. And you're right, Kesey, we can visualize it easier. Okay? Yeah, so your Salam says because it's more logical and clear. Absolutely. Okay, so why? So here's where you'd want to go into this question here. Why is a person famous? Okay, so you'll see the logic here to this question and how this will help you to write a much better essay. So why does a person become famous? Why is that? So, well, there's a famous person. Why are they famous? Why do so many people know them? Okay. Again, members, I truly believe that if I'm able to give you the thinking, the logic that I use for these kinds of questions, then I can definitely give you a one-band improvement very quickly. So Kamlesh says they're famous because of their position and their work. Okay, why do they have certain position and certain work? So your Salam says it's because of what they do, their deeds. So Amar says because maybe they're creative and have a good view. Okay, Prithviraj says because he or she did something extraordinary that people recognize. And Anish uses a very good word there. They're talented. Okay. Danish says because of famous work or activities like sports or acting. So it's because of their unique ability, talent, and hard work in some area of society that makes them exceptionally recognized by the public, right? So that's a good way to do it. I'm kind of using what a few of you said put together. So they have some kind of a unique ability. They have a talent, they have hard work in some area of society. So arguably, they have some form of high-level intelligence. Arguably. Okay. And how? Here you can just think of a quick example. Cristiano Ronaldo, a very talented footballer or football player. So he is very recognized. And not only talented, but we can honestly say hardworking. Okay. Jim Carrey, a talented and hardworking comedian actor, right? So just a couple of quick examples. I'm sure many of you can give me many of your own examples. That's how we see this in society. You can use politicians or others as well. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so now we go to the controlling idea. And what is a good way to define the controlling idea of this question? If you're having a little bit of difficulty, look at the question. Focus on the question again, read it. So sometimes famous people sometimes give their opinion on a public topic. Is this good or bad? Explain to what extent you agree or disagree. So what's the controlling idea of the question? What are we actually talking about? What does the essay focus on that we're about to engage, that we are about to write? We can definitely call them exceptional Danish. Yeah, they are exceptional members of society. Okay, Danish says celebrities' opinion on social issues. There's a little bit more than that. So is it a good thing? Try to combine or try to add this into your controlling idea. So Sheng Hung says, is famous people influence on the public by their opinion, good or not? Okay, Sheng Hung, not bad. You have the right idea. Now try to simplify Sheng Hung. So write it again, but try to write it the same idea, just in a simpler way. Okay. A Danish celebrity's opinion on social issues is almost there. You're just missing 2 words to make it the perfect controlling idea. Good or bad thing, when we're assessing that, what are we really looking at? We're looking at value, right? Value. Think about the word value when you see this type of question. So what you're really thinking of is the value of celebrities' opinions on social issues. Okay? That would be a good way to coin or define this controlling idea. Okay, so the value of celebrities' opinions on social issues. Okay? So, what is the opinion of a famous person on a social issue? That's the first question. And perhaps I'm going to let you ask the next questions, right? So, what is the opinion of a famous person on a social issue? What is that? And again, asking these questions, practicing this at home. And I realize, members, you probably won't have enough time. Not probably, you definitely won't have enough time in the real exam to write all this down. I know that. I'm not crazy. I haven't lost my mind. I probably wouldn't write all this down either. The question would just be in my mind. The answer, I might write down a couple of words on the top part of the paper, just to keep these points in mind. So what is the opinion of a famous person on a social issue? Ahmed Al-Qadasi, it might be a political opinion, would be the how. So that would be like the example of this, of the opinion on the social issue. So that's not the what question, Ahmed, interestingly here, but it's you're answering the how question. Amarjeet says their own thinking. Amarjeet, can you use better English to tell me that? If I give an opinion from my own thinking, there's a very specific vocabulary that we use for that. What is it? What's the actual word? I'll give you a hint. The vocabulary that most of you should be looking for starts with an S. And clever, Ogata, you should combine that with the word beliefs. So something beliefs. Preeti, something perception. It starts with an S. You need an adjective there. A very important adjective. And this, in fact, is the key to this essay being a good high band essay. It's not self-beliefs, but you're close, Danish. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's the opposite of the word, or the antonym for the word objective. What is the antonym of the word objective? That's right, Shanghung. It's subjective. So Shanghung says, oh yes, beliefs, right, Shanghung. Okay, so the subjective beliefs of the celebrity based on their life experiences, goals, and knowledge in regards to the social issue. Members, students, viewers, the trick, the tip, the strategy for getting the really high band scores like band 8, band 9, but not only that, also to truly reach a high level of academia where in university you are in the top 5% of your class when it comes to any of the social sciences, political science, law, psychology, sociology, human geography, and so on, education. It all centers around the idea of how well you can create these questions based on your topic of debate or your topic of discussion, and how well you can formulate your responses. Okay? So always spend time to develop your ability to do this. Okay? So what is the opinion of a famous person on a social issue? It's the subjective belief of the celebrity based on their life experiences, goals, and knowledge in regards to the social issue. Okay? That's what it really is. Okay, why does the celebrity give? I shouldn't have said that. I should have waited for you to think of that question. But anyway, I'll do it now. Why does a celebrity give their opinion on a social issue? Okay. So why does the celebrity give their opinion? What is their motivation? That's a very important question for this. Task 2. So why does the celebrity give their opinion on the social issue? Why would they do that? So why would suddenly Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's a very famous actor and former politician, why would they suddenly just say, hey, I believe what's happening in North Korea is really bad for the world because. So why would somebody do that? Okay, so Raj says because many people will watch and listen. I don't think that's actually a reason, Raj. I don't think the celebrity actually goes, hey, I'm going to give my opinion because a lot of people will listen. I don't think that's a reason. Because a lot of people give their opinion when there's not a lot of people listening. So Prithviraj says to make society better. Okay, so maybe they have some kind of a goal. So they have some kind of a goal to affect change. So to influence people's thinking. Ahmed, absolutely, right? It's the same idea. So very good, Ahmed. Shen Hung says maybe they can get benefit from it. So they can get benefit like monetary and notoriety. Monetary meaning money, and often these come together, more fame, so notoriety. Dana says because they think their contributions are important. So yeah, they might just feel strongly about it. So we might see a newscast with Leonardo DiCaprio talking about stopping the hunting of whales or whaling in the North Arctic, right? Why else? And I don't see this yet. So Preeti says they're truly concerned. That's what I just wrote, Preeti. They feel strongly about it. Why else? There's another reason. So Kisi says to influence ordinary people in society. Sure. There could be another reason, and I haven't seen it yet, and I think it's an important one to consider. So try to... Amarjit says they know a number of people who follow them so they can spread awareness about any topic. Okay, let me give you a little help here. How about David Suzuki? Or how about David Attenborough? John Attenborough? Mr. Attenborough? I'm just going to call him Sir Attenborough because I know he's been knighted. David Attenborough, right? My brain sometimes get confused. So why would Suzuki and Attenborough give their opinion on the environment and wildlife and nature? What's the logic there? And if you don't know those people, maybe check up on them. They're pretty good people to know their names. Okay, why? Former presidents like Barack Obama, they ask him to give an opinion. Yeah, there you go, Kleber Ogata. They actually bring knowledge to the public. So okay, so celebrities aren't always off the rocker talking about issues that they don't know about. Many celebrities, when they discuss an issue, it's because they're familiar with that issue. If they talk about poverty, maybe they experienced poverty as a young child or hardship. If they're talking about raising awareness to difficulties in sports, maybe it's because they experienced those, okay? So they might actually have knowledge about it, okay? And they could be pressured by others as well. Absolutely. Okay. So those are all some really good answers that are worth considering. And hopefully, I know you only have 40 minutes in task 2, but hopefully you can at least think of 3 or 4 of these before you start writing your essay. Your essay will just be much, much better. Now, we still have some questions left. What's the next question? So here, instead of the answers, what's the next question that you should ask? So far, let's go back. Let's do a quick little review. Again, this is some brain development here. The original question, famous people sometimes give their opinion on a public topic. Is this a good thing? Explain to what extent you agree. We've identified that we're talking about famous people. We realize that we need to think quantitatively as well as qualitatively. A person who is known by many people, or at least more than 100 million people, is considered someone famous. They are famous because of their unique abilities, and this is what I was hoping you might think of for that previous question. So some famous people actually are really hard-working, uniquely smart individuals, and they are well-versed and knowledgeable on some of these social issues. They concern themselves with these issues. Like Bill Gates has the Bill Gates and Linda Gates Foundation that does a lot of charitable work around the world, and they really spend a lot of time researching serious global issues that threaten our planet regarding pollution, population, food supply, etc. So keep that in mind. Okay, and then we discussed what these opinions are. We just talked about why. What's the next question? What's the next question? There's still at least one more important question. I would say 2 more. So 2 more really important questions to ask and answer in your head before you start writing. Yes, Prithviraj, Nita Ambani is also a good example. Absolutely. Okay, there are lots of good examples of such people if you really think about it. Jane Goodall is another really good example. Okay. Preeti, almost. Stick the word how in front of that. So Preeti says, how are famous people's opinions good for society? And now you'll probably realize, okay, the answer is they can influence many people positively about important issues. Especially if they are knowledgeable. Knowledge about those issues. Okay. So what's the next question then? Knowledgeable about those issues. So the next question, I'm sure most of you will figure that out. Shang Hung, you're like my spelling master. Thank you. So the next one is, how are famous people's opinions bad for society? Okay. That would be the next question. And the answer for that would be the opposite. They can negatively influence millions of people about important issues, especially if they lack knowledge, let's say it that way, about these issues. Okay, absolutely. All right, so from here we can get to the thesis statement. Okay, so the thesis statement is the make or break statement. Now you should have a really clear idea of how to compose your thesis. We've asked all the right questions, given all the right answers. Remember that this question specifically, we agreed that it is persuasive, of course, and we're using third-person voice for this essay. So write your thesis statements, and meanwhile, I'll look at Amarjeet's question. So Amarjeet says, "Sir, I don't know about these kinds of topics, especially to what extent. As some say, we should write 2 paragraphs of our opinion and one about the opposite side." Amarjeet, you're just about to learn that. Amarjeet, to what extent you agree or disagree, there is no magical one answer to that. It could be 50-50, it could be one or the other. So the question could be where you completely agree with one side, and in that case, you should give 2 points of why you completely agree and not disagree. And in some situations, with some of these questions, Amarjeet, you may say that, well, both sides deserve attention, and then you need to allocate one side to why you disagree with it in part, and the other side to why you agree with it in part. So always look at the question, Amarjeet, and that's why there is no perfect recipe for the IELTS exam. You have to use your brain. Okay, so here, if you are using good critical thinking, then you should come up with a quality answer that will read well and make sense to the examiner. Okay, does that make sense, Amarjeet? So in this case, for this question, if I read it, think about it, plan it, like I just did, then I realize that I have to basically agree that in part it's a good thing and in part it's a bad thing for celebrities, and specifically explain when it's a bad and when it's a good. Okay. So Prithviraj says, "I agree with this phenomenon to a large extent for some reasons." What are they, Prithviraj? So give me your thesis. Okay, that's only part of your thesis. It's only half of it. All right. Yeah, Danish, we'll get there. Okay, so I'll write my thesis and then I'll see what you come up with. Okay, so based on all of this information, here would be my thesis. Now it is third person. So even though it's your opinion, make sure to write it as third person. So All right, so I'm going for that band 9 thesis statement. So the value of celebrities' opinions. Let's show possession. Let's put a apostrophe in there. So the value of celebrities' opinions can be a major benefit to the public as long as these beliefs are backed up by knowledge and benevolence. Benevolence means goodwill. Okay, so when somebody wants to do good for society. However, such perceptions can also be detrimental to society if they are motivated by malintent and ignorance. Malintent means a bad goal, so somebody wants fame, fortune, or power, which is not for the purpose of good, and ignorance. Ignorance meaning lack of knowledge. Okay, so that would be your high band thesis statement there. Sheng Hung says, although there are many good reasons that celebrities voice their beliefs on public topics like providing valuable knowledge and to gain benefit, this may also be because of monetary and notoriety reasons. Sheng Hung, we're not actually talking about why famous people give their opinions, but we're talking about the value. Okay, so is it good or bad? So your thesis statement there, Sheng Hung, is off topic, and you'd be getting into a dangerous essay there. Okay, Prince Kakarot from Dragon Ball, I believe, says, Mr. Adrian, the thesis statement looks like a conclusion. Kind of, Daniel. The thesis statement is reflected in your conclusion. So the conclusion is a reflection of the thesis statement. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. So in this way, Daniel, you've actually said that I've done a pretty good job on the thesis, because that's what it should be. It should be a direct, it's called a direct thesis statement, Daniel. And direct thesis statements are always better. Okay? All right. So we need a hook. And I want to really quickly get to that. I think it was Danish that was asking about how do I write a good hook quickly. Yeah. So Danish, for the introduction, to write a good hook quickly, think about the topic and think about a fact. So the topic is famous people or famous people's opinions. Think about a fact in connection to famous people's opinions. When you think about the hook, think about why would IELTS people choose this question? So what is a fact about it? Okay. All right. So this is what I would write for a quick hook. So all right, that would just be my quick hook to get out there. These days, it is more common than ever to be influenced by the opinions of famous people through the media. I didn't realize that I wrote it so fast that I wrote ever, so I'd stop there. The media. So these days, it is more common than ever to be influenced by the opinions of famous people through the media. Then I would quickly write the background and definitions. And now, because I did all that planning in my mind, that comes very quickly. Okay? So Okay, and then comes my thesis statement. And here that simply just comes at the beginning. Now, in the computer-based IELTS, you could just type before your thesis. In the paper-based IELTS, you can put your thesis a little bit later to give yourself space for your hook and your background. So this would be my introduction here. These days, it is more common than ever to be influenced by the opinions of famous people through the media. Celebrities, such as well-known actors, actresses, athletes, and politicians, voice their own beliefs to hundreds of millions of people frequently on important social issues like pollution, gender rights, and the economy. Since they have a major influence on the thinking of the global public, it is very important to consider the value of this phenomenon. The value of celebrities' opinions can be a major benefit to the public as long as these beliefs are backed by knowledge and benevolence. However, such perceptions can also be detrimental to society if they are motivated by malintent and ignorance. Okay, so clearly that's your Band 9 introduction. Now, you don't have to produce quite that level of vocabulary and grammar on the exam to get a Band 8 or even a Band 9. However, you do have to produce that level of logic. Okay, so keep this in mind, students. Okay, so in order to get a Band 7 to Band 9, you do not need this level of vocabulary or grammar on the academic writing section or composition. However, you do need this level of content and structure. Okay, keep that in mind. So you do need to have a sound, well-structured, logical argument that you can hold throughout the essay and express clearly. All right. That is all the time I have for today, students. For homework, please complete, members, the introductory paragraph for this essay, okay? So complete the introductory paragraph for this essay because tomorrow we will complete the body paragraphs and the conclusion. If you want to send it to me before tomorrow, send it to my email so I can take a look at it, adrian@aehelp.com. In 30 minutes, I'm going to have a class for everyone for the reading section of the exam. We will look at an example passage and work through some questions. That's all I have time for right now, Prithviraj, and I think there was one or two other questions there as well. Kleber, just send me those questions by email and I will try to get to them in the next day or two. All right, hopefully I will see everybody in 30 minutes for some academic reading practice and strategy. Bye for now. You're welcome, Preeti.